Today, let's have a look at the top 5 reasons why we all get algae into our planted aquarium. Reason number 1 and rank number 5 goes to light and light intensity. We often don't choose the right light, and we often don't maintain the light at the right intensity or the longevity of the lighting period. We mess it up. This is one of the primary reasons why we get algae bloom into our planted aquariums. Now, we have a lot of content available online, be it YouTube or be it other content forums. Nowadays, what we are seeing is problems due to choosing wrong lights, intensity or longevity of the light does not contribute much to algae problems, because all our hobbyists, all our friends are all aware of how to choose a light and what is the intensity or whatnot. Still, we have done a video already on the correct light intensity during different phases of a planted aquarium on our channel. If you want to have a look, I have given the link in the description. Please do have a look at the video. But still, light is one of the primary contributor or major contributor to algae bloom. Reason number 2, which is rank number 4, is that we don't take care of the biological maturity of the planted aquarium as whole. We use aqua soil, we use good filter and filter media to aid to the filtration of the entire ecosystem, but we sometimes overlook the biological balance of the tank, and we proceed with planting the plants, we proceed with high intensity lights, and we encounter a huge algae bloom. This is again a major contributor towards algae. We all know that. Specifically, if you have to talk about the biological balance and what it does to the bloom of algae, is that really what happens is when the tank is not matured and we go ahead and plant the plants, probably we go for tissue culture plants, they all start wells, and melting plants are not good friends of our planted aquarium ecosystem. This will definitely lead to algae issues. And second reason is that when a planted aquarium is not mature, we all know that the ammonia spike will be huge, and again that will also lead to a lot of diatoms, that will also lead to a lot of algae issues as well. The third reason, and again rank number 3, is we overlook the health of the plants inside our planted aquarium. To talk about this unhealthy plant contributing to algae, let's talk about the life cycle of tank in 2 segments. One is algae bloom coming while we are actually planting the tank for the first time, while we are planting the tank, let me put it that way. So what really happens there is, if you go ahead and choose unhealthy plants, it could be from your friends, it could be from your other tank cuttings, it could be from unhealthy TC cups as well. So what actually happens is, these plants are already suffering, and when you plant them into a not so matured aquarium, again it aids to complete melting of the plants, and that contributes to algae bloom 100% guaranteed. Now the second scenario is where your tank is actually matured, you have a running system coming in, suddenly you have an algae bloom. The first thing you should actually be looking at is your overall health of the plant. If you see some portion of the plants melting, some species melting, or even leaves melting, even anubias and ferns losing their colors, you must go ahead and then cut the leaves off and remove those plants. And another major contributor which we overlook is that we do a heavy trimming, or we do a trimming rather, and we leave the floating particles or the cut-off particles aside inside the tank. These also will melt down eventually and contribute to algae bloom. As we all know, number 1 reason actually for a sudden algae bloom inside the tank is melting plants. The fourth reason, and the rank number 2 reason for algae bloom, is fluctuating CO2. We all go for high-tech planted aquarium and we proceed with injecting CO2, but one little factor that we overlook often is the consistency of CO2 that we are injecting. When I say fluctuating CO2, the primary contributor towards fluctuation that we see is going for cheap regulators. When you go for cheap CO2 regulator, what happens is that needle valve that we call is not so of good quality. So that contributes to uneven drops. So when we look at the drop checker or the CO2 indicator liquid, it shows us, when we look at it, it shows us kind of a okay color. And when we look at the bubble counter, we also see that the bubbles are consistent. But when we see, we cannot gauge or analyze actual bubble sizes, whether it's consistent or not. This is where the problem primarily comes in fluctuating the CO2 levels. Another reason is you have a nilly pipe or your filter outlet which is placed in such a level that the CO2 actually fluctuates due to fluctuation in the surface agitation. This also you need to look at it. While talking about fluctuating CO2, you also need to talk about CO2 injection as a whole. You either go for a low tech, which is without any CO2, or go for pressurized CO2 with proper CO2 levels. What I mean by that is, if you inject CO2 at a very minimal level, that is going to contribute big time to algae blooms, like for example hair algae or sometimes BBA. This will be heavy infestation you can expect. The reason is, if you inject CO2, if you decide to inject CO2, not only do you have to maintain it at a consistent level, that consistency should be maintained at the desired level. So do not inject CO2 below the desired level as well. Reason number 5, and the topmost contributor of algae specifically for established tanks, and specifically the reason that we all overlook, even I overlook, our people overlook this fact, is substrate cleaning. While talking about substrate cleaning, we need to cover cleaning soil as well as inert substrate. Now talking about soil, cleaning the soil actually contributes to 2 things. One is clearing the debris, obviously. Second thing is maintaining the overall health of the soil for a longer period. So how do I maintain that? Obviously it's by siphoning it out. During your regular water changes, which is weekly water change, you got to siphon the soil or the substrate, say probably half centimeter or 1 centimeter or on the surface by agitating it. And you can go for a deep cleaning, say once in 2 months or 3 months. When I say deep cleaning, as far as possible, deep siphon the soil. And one more small tip, while doing that, if you can actually provide the soil with some kind of a GH powder form recharge, like aquavascular GH recharge, which actually adds calcium and magnesium to the soil, that also will help in maintaining the overall health of the soil. Now talking about the inert substrates, debris going beneath the inert substrate, specifically on Planted Aquarium, where you keep the inert substrate for the overall looks, aesthetic purpose. Debris going deep below, we don't see much, but still it's a good practice to siphon them out. Now, this reason is rank number 1 because, and only because, we all overlook that fact. To give an example, it could be the largest contributor for BBA. Please do siphon out debris. Please do keep your substrate clean. I will see you in the next video, and until then, bye bye.